We're live.
Welcome to the Lost Together podcast. I'm Joe, and this is still my attempt to convince Morgan that Lost is one of the greatest television shows ever written, acted in, produced, directed, shot, and with infuriating twists and turns, like in this episode. Some of them are fun twists and turns, and then the twists and turns that happen in this episode, I think, are frustrating. And based on Morgan's reaction as we were watching it, still frustrating. Mm-hmm. So, One of Us is what we're talking about. So we're talking about Season 3, Episode 16, which originally aired on April 11th, 2007. So it's the 65th overall episode in the series. And got a couple of cameos back in this episode. So we've got Brett Cullen back as Goodwin, who we haven't seen since Season 2 when he got wasted by Ana Lucia. And so, what'd you think in general?
Also, Ethan is back in this episode. He got wasted. And, yeah, those are the only dead people.
Yeah, and I think his name's, it's William Maypother, who is related to Tom Cruise. Which is why he looks like...
Ethan?
Yeah, the actor that plays Ethan, related to Tom Cruise.
No wonder he's weird.
Yeah, I know, right? He's not even a Scientologist, and he's just strange. But, so Tom Cruise's actual name is Thomas Maypother Cruise. So Cruise is like a stage name that he adopted because Maypother is a weird name. And so he was like, I'm Tom Cruise. That's a cool guy name or whatever. I'm a dick in every movie that I'm in. Mm-hmm. Tom Cruise is apparently like pretty regularly cited as one of the biggest movie stars in the world because like everybody knows him and he's in all of the Mission Impossible movies and stuff, but like he's kind of the same guy in every movie, right?
Yes.
Him and Will Smith should do a movie where they're
just themselves,
a dickhead and like a quick quippy tortured soul. So him and Will Smith would be really great in a movie where they're just themselves. But anyway, so general thoughts.
It was great. It was a great episode. I was like I said, very frustrated at the end. And I want to watch another one so that I can figure out what the hell is happening because don't know who to trust, don't know who to believe anymore.
Yeah. A Juliet-centric episode.
Yes.
So let's just get right into it so we can do the recap and then get into some discussion. So
sure. So
take it away.
We open up with a quick little refresher that Juliet is like a fertility research doctor. Mm-hmm. Like she is pioneering some sort of serum that helps sterile women get pregnant because her sister Rachel is like eat up with cancer and Juliet has been giving her medicine to treat the cancer, but it ended up helping her get pregnant. And so, she wasn't giving her the shots while she had cancer to get her pregnant, right? She was trying to treat the cancer.
I think she was trying to get her pregnant.
While she was eat up with cancer?
I think so.
Because the cancer goes away because of the shots.
I thought it just went into remission.
Well, yeah, but that's,
Rachel assures her, pointing out the cancer is completely gone.
Because of the shots.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Anyway.
It does matter. Greg will know. Greg, help us.
Was she treating the cancer or trying to get her pregnant? Because the thing is, to me, it seems like she's trying to get her pregnant because that's literally why.
Well, that's unethical as hell.
But that's why the island brings her.
Yeah, I know because
her work with fertility.
Yeah, and we learn why, which we'll talk about later. Anyway, so Rachel, the sister, is taking Juliet to the airport, but it's not. It's like a secret airport, and takes her there and eyelashes the guy.
Also,
Richard
Alpert. Just a thing to point out. I wonder if you noticed this because the whole series is filmed in Hawaii. And it's so funny that they tried to make that place look like a different place where they were like wherever they said it was Oregon or something, or wherever they were at. Were they in L.A.? They might have been in L.A. Juliet.
I can't remember.
But either way, it was Hawaii, and it was like really clearly Hawaii. Like I thought this airport scene was strange because I was like, oh, that's Hawaii for sure. Like
you didn't see anything.
Yeah, it's the vegetation in the background. It was like very, very tropical. I was like, that's Hawaii. Like they're in Hawaii right now.
Yeah. Anyway, Richard Alpert tells Rachel and Juliet at the gate, like, hey, sorry, like, this is restricted, so, like, say your goodbyes now, whatever. And Juliet promises Rachel that she'll be back before the baby's born in 3 months. Okay, I couldn't remember if it was 3 or 6. You know, she thinks it's going to be a quick little trip out there, do some research, come on back home. So she goes inside, and Ethan and Richard are kind of getting her through the process, and Richard does not make any kind of show at all about putting this powder inside some orange juice, and he's like just right in front of, but he doesn't mention it or anything. Hands it to her, and she goes, what is this? And he goes, orange juice. I was like, oh my God, obviously that's not what she's asking you about, you idiot. That is malicious compliance. Like, shut up. And she goes, yeah, well, what's in it? And he says, a considerable amount of tranquilizers. And I was like, oh, shit. So she's like, you know what? I was cool with signing your paperwork. I was cool with, not really knowing where I'm going, but, like, this is where I draw the line. So then Richard was like, listen, the place we're taking you, there's stuff there that you would never believe. Like, it's super special. Your work is special. We would not take you there or put you through any of this if we didn't think you were special enough to do it. And then she just downs that whole glass, like, chugs it.
Well, and he kind of gives her the equivalent of, like, she's like, I was cool with all that, and this is where I draw the line. He's like, really? Like a glass of orange juice, that's where you draw the line? Really?
That's
right?
So dumb.
But to be honest, like, it kind of is. Like, she's been through a lot of stuff. Are they just?
She's
but
not
are they
been
just
given tranquilizers?
Yeah, but are they just literally gonna go through all this to kill her or whatever? Like,
no, they're gonna knock her out.
No, I know. Well, I get that, but like. But that's what I'm saying is, like, they've gone through this really special recruitment. Like, I'd be nervous for sure, right? But I'd be really excited, probably. I'm like, man, what kind of stuff am I about to get into?
Yeah, until they tell me, like, hey, we're going to make you unconscious, and you're going to not know where you're going.
But they also tell her that they're like, the journey is rough.
Yes.
Like, to get you there.
Yes.
And then that would be enough for me. I'd be like, all right, see you later, right? And then...
Yeah, I'd be like, see you later, bye, I'm leaving. Like, number one rule of womanhood.
Yes.
Don't drink drinks that you don't know what's in them. But she's an idiot because she knew what was in it and she drank it. My female alert system was like, danger, danger, don't do that.
Yeah.
And then, going with 2 men to a place, they won't tell you where they're taking you. Like, it was just... the female nightmare.
But, like, if that was the case, if they were going to do something nefarious, why wouldn't they just hide the fact that they were putting tranquilizers in the...
I think that it is the perfect crime to tell her, like, yeah, these are tranquilizers. You're going to be knocked out. You're going to a special place, whatever, and then you knock her out and you...
But that's not how, like, people who actually do that do it.
But you would be more inclined to believe that they're telling you the truth if they tell you, hey, these are tranquilizers, I'm fixing to knock you out, we're going on a trip.
Yeah, but my point is, if they actually wanted to do something, they wouldn't need her to believe them. They would just in a different room, make up the orange juices, bring the orange juices in, and have her drink the orange juice.
Yeah, it's like a power move, like to go, hey, you know exactly what is happening right now, and you're going to do it willingly, but she thinks that she's just going to this magical island when really she's going to experience some trauma. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But beside the point, obviously that is not what happened. So she drinks it, and Ethan goes like, probably shouldn't have drank all that so fast. And then she's immediately asleep. Wakes up, she's in the sub, and she's like, "Where am I?"
Strapped down.
Yeah, she's tied down, and again, wee, all the alarms are going off in my brain of like, "Oh, you idiot! You're a woman. You shouldn't be in this situation." Ethan is like, "Oh, sorry, I had to strap you down. The last leg is pretty rough. It's pretty rough." So he unties her. She says, "Where are we?" And he goes, and the hatch of the submarine is open, and you see the blue sky, and Juliet climbs up in the worst heels for a ribbed,
like a slatted,
roof of a tank,
like it's
or a submarine. Yeah, it's like the gaps are like exactly the width of her heel. So I was just waiting for her to like, sink in.
Snap her ankle. First time she dislocates her shoulder or something.
Yeah. So of course that's her first time seeing the island. She takes in the breathtaking mountain views and all that, and then here comes Ben trotting down the little boardwalk or whatever, and he's like, "I'm Ben Linus, and I can't wait to work with you."
He said, "I'm Ben Linus, and I can't wait to work with you."
Yeah. So, there's that. And then I'm trying to think of the sequence of things.
Well, it flashes forward after he gets
and then
off.
she's like in bed with Goodwin.
Also, there's something I noticed while I was watching it, where when she gets out of the submarine, they do that shot of her like looking over everything, and there's a dude standing on the dock who's not there whenever they cut back to her.
Oops.
And he's looking at just like
I usually catch those kinds of things anytime I'm watching a movie or a TV show. I pay really close attention to things like jewelry, hats, things like that, because they change all the time. It's so funny to me.
I was excited to see my boy Ben, so I was looking for Ben. So I like looking in the background, like, that guy's not Ben. And then when it cuts down and it's like at her level, it's like, there's Ben, not in the place where that dude was before. So
yeah. Well. Anyway, she's like in an operating room. There's a lady on the table. She flatlines. Goodwin's like, "You did everything you could. You did everything you could." And then there's like not really much more explanation about what the hell's going on there, other than like you're made to believe that Juliet was sort of responsible running that operation.
She was. That wasn't my takeaway, but like, she's definitely there because that woman's her patient.
Yeah. Because
she's not a surgeon.
No.
Because Jack did the surgery when Jack was doing surgery.
Yeah.
So I think it was more like she's just her patient, because as Juliet says, she's mostly a researcher.
Yeah.
So
she's like super sad because this lady died, and so she's sitting on like the rocks where Desmond killed that guy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, same place. She's sitting there kind of looking at the waves, and Ben walks up and he's like, you did your best. You gave it the old college try. And she's like, "You know what? I think I'm done here. There's nothing else I can do. I think something about this island makes it so that women can't get pregnant and can't carry pregnancies. And the only way to test it is to get somebody pregnant in Miami and bring them here."
Or just off the island.
Yeah, but she said Miami specifically. So maybe that's where they were. Maybe they were in Miami.
Maybe, but
she just means off the island.
The point is off the island.
Yes.
Yeah.
She specifically mentioned Miami.
Wants to go home.
Yeah. And he said, "Well, that's not happening." And she said, "Okay, well then, like, seriously, like, I'm done. I'm literally done. So goodbye." And he's like, "Oh, you're not going anywhere." And then she cries. And then we flash forward to her in bed with Goodwin, and she's like sitting up eating ice cream in the bed.
Well, you skipped a part.
What did I skip?
Because he says you're not going anywhere because she wants to get home to see
the baby.
But then Ben's like, "Don't worry about it because your sister's gonna be dead soon."
Oh, that's right. Yeah. He said, yeah.
And,
she said my sister's due like any time, and I need to go home. And he's like, "Oh yeah, your sister's cancer is back, and so." She's gonna be dead, and then he leaves. He just leaves her there. So she's like heartbroken.
Well, no, because
he walks off.
No, because she says, "Where'd you get this?" And he says, "Mikhail," who's the comms guy, And, he talks about Jacob there. So he says, like, Jacob's going to see, like, if you stay.
Oh, my God. You're completely right. I thought
Yeah.
that happened in their house, in his house.
No.
Okay. Yeah, he makes a deal with Juliet that if she stays, as if she could leave anyway, how the hell is she going to get off the island? I don't know why he's making this deal other than making her work. He could make her stay, but he can't make her work, I guess. But he tells her that if she stays and continues her research, that he will cure Rachel of her cancer.
Jacob will.
Yeah, but why? I mean...
Make it super simple. Why?
Well, I mean, to motivate her.
Why does he care if the work is not working? Like if,
it's just a control thing, I guess. Dude's got issues.
Yeah, this is so funny to me because, like, I remember watching this episode, and I actually think, I'll give you a hint, most of our viewers, right, who are men, I think, probably watched this particular episode and were like, oh, okay, like, no, okay, I get it.
Was
right.
he, like, in love with her?
Yeah, he's into her. He's trying to keep her around because he's got a crush on her. Like, he wants her there because...
Well, he does go out of his way to make sure that she understands that he's not a liar.
Well, yeah, and then think extra, though. Like, think back to when she put together this little scheme to maybe try to kill him to get off the island. And he is the one that sends word that nothing's going to happen to her, right, to the council and, like, saves her. Mm-hmm. Even though she's trying to kill him.
Yeah.
Like, he's just into her, right? And Ben's, like, not a particularly great looking dude and kind of a dickhead, and he's manipulative or whatever. So, like, probably has a hard time with women since those are not traits that lend themselves well to attracting women.
No.
So he is fixated.
Yeah.
On Juliet, and it was obvious to me in this episode when I was watching it through the first time. I was like, oh, Ben's just super into her. Like,
yeah.
Super into her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, when she's in bed with Goodwin, she's eating her ice cream, and he's like, what are you thinking about? And she goes, oh, I'm just thinking about how today is my 1-year anniversary of being on this island. So she is well past her 3-month contract date. Mm-hmm. So then she gets the x-rays and sees the tumor on Ben's spine, which is like that big around, right on his neck.
Big old tumor.
It is a sizable boy. So, let's see, she is pissed, obviously, and goes over because he tells her...
Cancer's not a thing.
Yeah, he's like, he's like, there are 200-something people on the island, and nobody has cancer, which I think is ludicrous. And I said, when we were watching...
She did say this.
Yeah, when we were watching it, I was like, oh, so you mean these people who don't eat processed foods and... don't, like, take tons of crazy medicines and live, like, a pretty active lifestyle. They don't have cancer. Wow. Amazing.
I thought it was funnier because I thought what you meant. Now that you're saying that, I'm like, oh, this is like a organic foods thing. Because when you said it originally, I laughed because I thought you meant that's a very small sample size. And
yes, and that,
like,
too. Yeah,
that is funny
people.
because it was like if you told me you went to a place and you were like, well... a bunch of people smoke out of these 200 or whatever, and none of them are, getting lung cancer or whatever. And it's like, how many? And they're like, 5. You go, yeah, that's not a super big sample size, given that there are millions and millions and millions of people in,
and I don't know.
Billions on the planet, but I meant like in America as a sample size. So,
I don't know what the statistics are for, every 1 out of every 20 people or whatever get some form of cancer in their life. Like, but yeah, no shit, these people with this active, healthy lifestyle don't have cancer. But that's not to say that, like, there are babies that get cancer. Babies, little babies, they're not eating processed crappy food and, drinking and smoking and giving themselves cancer. But regardless, I was like, but yeah, that's what he said. Nobody here has cancer. So she slams those x-rays down, and she's like, if nobody has cancer on the island, Ben, why do you have cancer? And he's like, what do you mean? And she's like, you have a massive tumor on your spine, like your C4 or whatever. And she's like, you lied to me. Like, you lied about everything. You lied about Rachel. And then she, like, falls into his chest and is crying. And he's like, they have this, like, it was like two kids. She was like, you lied. And he said, no, I didn't. And she said, yes, I did. And he said, no, I didn't. And then there's, like, a tense little moment. And she says, like, please let me go home. Please let me go home to be with my sister. And he was like, well, what are you going to do? Like, you want to go be with her for her final moments? Like, it's not going to make a difference. And she's like, please, please let me go. And he says, no. And he walks off. What a butthole. That's not a good way to get a girl to like you at all. So the next day is we go back to the first time we met Juliet, where she's in the mirror and she's what was the downtown?
Downtown. We're gonna talk about that in a minute. So that was Downtown by Petula Clark.
Yeah, she's trying to like up her spirits because she's got her book club coming, and it's no wonder that she was such a bitch because she just got told, you know,
she wasn't gonna go.
Yeah, I'm never gonna let you leave this island or whatever, and so, you know, of course, the plane cracks in half, and Ben tells Ethan and Goodwin like, hey, you two are gonna be passengers. So go and make me a list and don't get caught and stay out of the shit and whatever. So they do. And then he takes Juliet to Mikhail's house, and I thought it was so funny when they were walking up. He's like yelling from way back, hey, it's Ben, we're coming up, we're walking up to the door, don't shoot us, like, because this dude is nuts or whatever. So Mikhail has got a live stream. Somebody back home is live streaming Rachel and her super cute little baby boy at a playground.
Julian.
Yeah, I was like, oh my God. I would die if my brother or your sister had kids and used one of our names. But I think it's weird to name your kid after a sibling that is still living. Of course, I'm assuming that Rachel thinks that Juliet is dead, maybe, because she's never called
Hasn't
her.
heard from her.
Yeah, never been able to call, never been able to write, you know, nothing. So she just disappeared.
Just to point something out there, so the plane crash happens during the book club meeting. They run out and they're all like, it's frantic, right? So who sends people to the planes? Ben.
Yeah.
Who does he send?
Goodwin and Ethan.
Why? Could have sent anybody. Had everybody there in the camp. Could have sent anybody.
Yeah, I mean, they were close to him in proximity, but, you know, obviously Goodwin he's jealous of because he's sleeping with...
Yeah, he's literally pulling like a...
But why Ethan? Ain't nobody sleeping with Ethan.
So that is a... I take that. There's a lot of biblical references in Lost, and that's a pretty direct parallel to a story that happens in the Bible with King David when he's actually the king. As after he's achieved a whole bunch of glory or whatever, and he's like the leader, and he falls in love with this woman who already has got somebody, and so he sends that woman's husband to the front lines of battle to be killed, basically. And so that, I believe, is why Goodwin is one of the two people that he chose to send away.
Well, maybe so. I don't know.
Yeah.
Another thing that I thought about, you know, they don't have phones. They don't have, you know, the internet. They don't have cable TV. Mm-hmm. Unless Juliet has been keeping a calendar, how would she know that it was September 22nd, 2004, or whatever newspaper said?
I'm sure they do keep a calendar. Because Ben knew when the Red Sox had won the series, and well,
that's true.
They travel on and off the island.
That's true, and Rachel like had hair because that baby was probably 2. Mm-hmm. So you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, of course, they let her watch it for like 30 seconds and then turn it off. And she's like, no, please, no, God, no. So then, let's see. Oh, yeah. Then we find out that freaking Ben set up the whole plan with Juliet handcuffing herself to Kate.
We haven't found that out yet.
Oh, that's at the end of the episode.
Yes.
I'm just staying with the Ben and Juliet thing. Because the shit that happened on the beach is crazy also. There was a lot of crazy shit going on this whole time. So, of course, everybody, Jack, Saeed, Kate, and Juliet make it back to the beach. And Sawyer, bless him, he's really got shit rocking. And then here comes Jack back, and he's like, but he was super happy to see him.
No.
He gave him a hug.
What I read was relief.
Yeah.
So, like, he
didn't want that
No.
leadership role. No, that's a lot of pressure.
But he had just found some aspirin for Claire. Or he was about to give her some aspirin. It was being super helpful and was like, he said, 2 aspirin coming right up, right? And you're going to go get some aspirin.
Wasn't being a dick about it. He wasn't like, what you going to give me for it? Or none of his typical Sawyer stuff. He just was like, yeah, I'll get you aspirin. But yeah, they walk up. He gives Jack a hug. You know, he's happy. He sees Kate, gives her a hug, and then he sees Juliet, and he's like, what the hell is she doing here? So then everybody comes to learn that Locke left with the others, and Juliet was an other, and now she's here, and she's staying, because Jack said so. And Jack is being super protective of Juliet. And you gotta love a man that protects his woman. You gotta do it. So, on the reason that Sawyer had to get aspirin is because Claire is very ill. This poor girl, I feel like there's always something happening with her. And she's like one of the most vulnerable people.
Yeah. And she's a victim of a lot of stuff a lot of the time.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So Erin is like screaming his face off, and she's not even reacting at all. She's asleep. So Charlie's like, are you okay? And she's like, oh yeah, like I've got a terrible headache, but I'm just going to get some more rest. And he's like, yeah, you do that. So, there's some like hubbub about, Juliet being there or whatever. So she's like sitting by herself on the beach, and here comes Hurley. And I was like, oh, they're bringing the good time boy in. Let's see what he says. So he plops down and he's like, so you're one of the others, huh? And she was like, yep. And he said, oh, well, Ethan was an other too. And we buried him right up there at the beach. And she's like,
he also said, I didn't recognize you from the dock. And
when you put bags over our heads.
Yeah, and she goes, I was off that day.
Yeah, it was funny.
Which I thought was funny.
He sort of grinned a little.
Yeah.
Just a little bit.
I actually think that was really funny. Because she was in some danger there. She'd been threatened, basically.
Yeah,
and
but it was like the nicest threat ever.
Yeah, because old Hugo doesn't have it in him to be actual threatening unless he's just attacking Sawyer over something, which he did that one time,
Yeah.
But I loved that because Jen smiling over Hurley attacking Sawyer. Everybody loved Hurley attacking Sawyer because Sawyer couldn't believe it.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Yeah, sorry, just reminiscing. That's a favorite moment of mine. Love that.
Yeah. So, Jack is defending Juliet all over the place. He brings her all the stuff to like make a hut or a lean-to or whatever, and he's telling people like, listen, I trust her, so if you trust me, we should be good. Like, it's not a big deal. She's a good one. Whatever. So Saeed, I think Jack asks Saeed, like, I trust her, isn't that enough? And Saeed's like, it's not. And, Saeed, at one point, he's asking Juliet, or maybe this was in the last episode.
No, it's this one.
Okay, yeah, he's asking her, like, I want you to tell me everything that you know. And she said, if I told you everything that I know, you would want to kill me. And he said, what makes you think I'm not going to? And I was like, oh my God. And then he, it's just this like super tense, whatever. And then again, he's grilling her. Jack walks up and he's like, knock it off, Saeed. And Saeed says,
she's going to answer my questions
She's going to answer my questions eventually. And Jack says, she'll do it when she's ready, and you're going to back off. And
you're gonna wait until she's ready.
And I was like, oh my God. He just told the torturer, strong as hell. I was like, you go, Jack. Good for you.
The funny thing about that is that Saeed does let up after that.
Yes, he does. He does. Because Jack is the alpha dog or whatever.
Which, okay, but Saeed would wreck Jack in a fight. So,
100%. It's a respect thing. Yeah, he respects him.
It was just, Jack having the backbone to actually stand up for it. He's like, okay, But also, Saeed is smart and probably knows, I don't need to get into a dust up with our only doctor, and hurt him. That will be very bad for me if I do that. Because he's probably good in a fight, but there's lots of people there. Yeah. So it's let's not wreck the doctor.
And it's really chapping Kate's ass.
She's not into it.
Oh man, she does not like it at all that Jack is really sticking up for Juliet.
Yeah, it's maybe how Jack felt when he saw her having sex with Sawyer. Kate's like, ooh, don't be nice to another woman after you saw me having sex with another man. That's equivalent for sure.
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Kate needs to shut up.
Yes,
she was on my nerves. I'm like, girl, you've got zero self-awareness.
Every time Jack does something protective, she's like,
I just want her little Jiminy Cricket to go, psst, you had sex with Sawyer on camera, right? For Jack to see. You think you maybe
She didn't do it for Jack to see
but she knows.
She thought they were going to die.
But she knows that Jack saw it. So it's like...
Well, yeah, after the fact.
So it's like, honey, listen, think about it.
She thought she was going to die.
Cool, Jack's moved on, right? Because you did something, right? So, you need to understand that regardless of your intent, that's why. So maybe shut up and just be supportive.
Yeah, I don't know. She thought she was going to die. So,
and
you gotta do what you gotta do. You're on death's door.
She didn't have to do that.
Can you be culpable for things that you do when you think you're gonna die? Mm-hmm. Well, whatever.
So, if I was in a situation where I was gonna die and there just happened to be another woman there, and it was I thought my last act on Earth, and I hooked up with her, you'd be cool with that?
No, but the
exactly.
are completely different.
No.
Yes.
Not at all.
Yes, absolutely.
Nope.
Anyway. Jack's everybody's standing around a fire. Jack's regaling everybody with Locke blew up the submarine they were gonna let me go, and then Locke fucked up the whole plan, and so he's gone now, blah blah blah. And then Claire bursts in and she's just profusely bleeding out of her face, and then she gives it one of those and falls over. Jack picks her up and he's like, how long has she been like this? What's going on? Is she drinking enough water? As if dehydration could make you bleed out of your face. Quite the opposite, sir.
Dehydration can cause lots of issues, actually.
Bleeding out of your face? No.
Seizures.
I would think that...
Seizures.
Sure, but not profuse nosebleeds.
No, but the seizure can cause nosebleeds. And how dehydration can cause seizures. It's not as stupid as you thought, I guess.
Whatever. Anyway, he is a doctor. And I'm not, so...
It's okay. We're Americans. We don't need doctors. We know everything about medicine. We don't have to ask our doctors.
Yeah, so anyway, Juliet is like, oh, I know what's wrong with her. And Jack's like, how do you know what's wrong with her? And she's like, because I did it to her. And I was like, damn, she just came right out and said it. She didn't try to dance around that at all. Just was like, I did it. I did it to her. So then she explains that the medicine, when they kidnapped Claire, they kidnapped her to save her life because And she says it loud enough. She's like, women, every pregnant woman on this island dies. And then Sun's like, she totally hears it. She's like, what? So, she's like, we did it to save Claire's life. We abducted her. We gave her the injections. And, here she is.
She's having withdrawal.
Yes.
So she needs more of the serum. I know where it's at. Let me go get it.
Yes. She knew exactly where it was. Something about like on the island, the mother's bodies treat pregnancies like infection, and so that medicine like blocks that, and that happens in real life to real women.
Yep.
It causes miscarriages and stuff.
Especially when they visit mystical islands with polar bears on.
Yeah, exactly. So she was saying like Claire is literally the only pregnant woman that I've seen live on this island so far. Which is funny because didn't Ben say that he was born on the island?
He did say that.
So, like, what the fick? Was that a writing oopsies or? Okay. Yeah, because he said he was born on the island. And he told... Oh, no, he told Jack that. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay, never mind. That just occurred to me that he said he was born on the island. So he's either a lying liar pants or that shit is not true about the whole pregnancy thing.
Yeah. Which one do you think?
He's a lying liar.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, Juliet goes to a tree with a rune on it, and there's just like sitting right there is a big black suitcase, and as soon as she picks it up, here comes Sawyer and Saeed, and they're like, drop it. So they like act like they're gonna kill her, and she's like, listen to me, like that medicine is for Claire. If she doesn't get it, she's gonna die. You've got to let me go. What is that badass line that she says to Saeed?
Because she says it to both of them. She goes like, oh, we're going to pretend like you guys are moral authorities. So as soon as you got to the island, Saeed, you tell them about Basra and...
all the people you tortured.
All the people you tortured. And then she mentions Basra specifically, which is a battle that happened in the Operation Iraqi Freedom, I think.
I thought that was his girlfriend.
Or it might have been Desert Storm. No, that's Nadja.
Oh.
Basra is a place.
Oh. Okay.
But then she turns to Sawyer and goes, how about the guy that you shot in cold blood the night before you got on the plane? Which, it was like a week before he got on the plane, but thanks. He was in the police station right before he got on the plane.
Close enough.
But she was busy, right? She was just like, let's make this short form. And they were both like...
Yeah, both of them shut the hell up after that. And then she's like...
I like a little guilt tripping was in...
She says something really badass when she takes that case out of Saeed's hand or Sawyer's hand, whichever one it was. She says something really badass, and I was like, whoa, like, tell him, girl. And then, she walks off.
Oh, the last thing either of you need is more blood on your hands.
That's it.
And then she takes the case back. And
I
really...
she's like...
Yeah. That I liked.
Yeah.
That was good.
And I said, man, she is a tough lady. And Joe said... Well, yeah, but she's just pretending. And I said, that's what makes her tough.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, I think that is tougher than being unafraid. Being afraid and acting like you're not is a lot harder than not being scared.
Sure.
So, I thought that was pretty cool. So anyway, the freaking needle is like that long. Like, if I ever need medicine like that, just let me die. I don't want it. Just let me die.
Nah, we'll be holding you down and giving it to you.
I can't. I have a needle.
She's got to think about needles. Imagine if I was like
tattoos. It's different. Medical needles specifically.
Imagine if I was said to you like, oh, if I throw up, it'll save me, but just let me die.
It's different.
Yeah, no, it's not. Not for me. I'm terrified of vomiting. Absolutely petrified. So, yeah.
Yeah.
It's phobia. That's how it works.
Whatever. Anyway, she opens the case and she's like fiddling with it, getting it ready. And Jack's like, listen, if anything happens to Claire, I'm not going to be able to protect you. You're going to be on your own.
He actually says if this doesn't work.
Yeah. And he said, you're going to be on your own. And she said, Jack,
I'm
already on my own. And I was like, you bitch, this man has been sticking up for you to all his friends the whole time. And you have got the audacity to say that you were alone. Interesting. Anyway, she jams that needle right in the belly, and Claire's better like immediately. And she's like, what happened the next day? What happened? Oh. And, looks perfect. All the blood's gone. Good for her. Then we cut to Ben and Juliet sitting at a table in Ben's house. And he's like, here's what you're going to do. You're going to go shackle yourself to Kate. And you're going to tell her that we left you there. And she goes like, well, what if she
doesn't believe me?
Yeah, and he's like, tell her the truth. Yeah. Like, tell her the truth. And the whole thing was orchestrated by Ben, and he's like, the implant in Claire's body has been activated, so she's going to start showing symptoms in 48 hours.
You'll have a nice little crisis to solve.
Yeah. And we put the medicine out at Ethan's old drop spot and whatever. And then he hands her a gas mask and he says, see you in 2 weeks.
Does he say that, or is it a week?
I thought he said 2 weeks. See you in 2 weeks, isn't it?
Yeah, I can't remember. Doesn't matter. Either way, it's like I'll see you in a little bit, basically.
Yeah.
See you in a week, he says.
See you in a week. Yeah. Okay. So then, it's, the episode ends with Juliet, like, tending to her little lean-to, and she's tying up the things, and she looks at Jack and gives this, like, beautiful, soft, loving little smile, and then she turns around and goes, cold as ice, baby, cold, just... So she's a lying liar too, and she's just as good, if not better, than Ben.
Definitely
They're
not better.
Some damn good liars.
Definitely not better, just to spoil it. But Ben's next level, and there's a reason for it. Because you'll notice that, like, when she bluffed Saeed, and I mean, she was barely past him, and she was like, "Ooh!" immediately. You're just not going to see that with Ben. Like, Ben's a sociopath, basically. So, like, Juliet is not a sociopath. She's just, she has a reason to be doing the stuff that she's doing. Mainly,
she wants to go home.
She wants to get back to her sister.
Yeah.
But, so looked it up real quick. Basra was the site of when Saddam Hussein was in power, there was like an attempted revolution coup to try to throw him out, and they put it down. Basically, so she is implying basically that Saeed was among the Iraqi Republican Guard soldiers that put down the rebellion, and there would have certainly been torture involved.
Yeah.
Probably not even to get information, probably just to do it. You know, like
just to teach a lesson.
Well,
or whatever.
like, don't do this because this is what happens to you, basically.
Yeah.
So a couple of things for me from that episode. I saw it and I had to, because I knew that the name of the airline that they took, which is Ararat Airlines.
Yeah, we were watching
immediately.
It. I knew it.
I was like, because I was like, wait a second, and I thought, and I was like, I think I know the anagram here, and had to think about it for a second, and it's an anagram for Earhart, as in like
Amelia Earhart.
Yeah, who got lost at sea. So it's really just a quick little like, ting, little like, oh, lost. She's lost.
You know the theory is that she was eaten by coconut crabs.
What theory?
What happened to her?
They didn't even find her plane, did they?
I don't think so.
Well, then why do they think she was eaten by coconut crabs instead of just drowned?
I don't know. That's the thing, though. Amelia Earhart was eaten by coconut crabs, which are crabs that are like this big.
Yeah, I've never heard that.
You're not deep enough in the lore of things, then.
I am not, despite all the people I know.
Have you guys ever heard that Amelia Earhart got eaten by coconut crabs?
Is that what happened to the Lindbergh baby, too?
I hope not.
Coconut crabs? Is that the solution to all the missing people in history?
Jimmy Hoffa.
The Donner Party didn't even eat each other. The coconut crabs ate them up in the mountains. So, anyway. So, Ararat, yep, that's an anagram for Earhart. And the art within the art for this episode, there's two.
Downtown.
So let's start with Downtown, which is by Petula Clark, or could be Petula, I don't know, Clark. So that song is about escapism and solace, and basically it's got themes of like loneliness, places you can always go, basically where there's a person. So if you're feeling lonely, and so it's an apt song for Juliet to be playing at the time that she is desperately lonely, just wanting to go home and see her sister. And I think that the scene with her, like, I like that Lost will show you an anchor sometimes. So like, Juliet's is her sister, and what I mean by that is that you get to see who that person really is for a second. Like on the island, they're dealing with all this crazy stuff all the time, and they're kind of in survival mode. So
they're living trauma, literally day-to-day trauma.
Mm-hmm. And so you get to see in the flashbacks like who they are at their baseline. And Juliet's sweet and loving, and they have this like good sister, great sister. I mean,
very committed to her sister's well-being, and kind of funny and quirky and.
Sorry, I'm dying. So
the other one was Carrie. She was carrying around Carrie.
No, well, that's the book club meeting. That's what they were reading. Remember, and they were like, "Why are we reading this crap?" Right. So themes in Carrie. One of the main themes in the early, one of the main themes in the early part of the book is actually, because have you ever read Carrie, or you've seen the movie, I'm sure?
Nope.
No? So there's a pretty big focus in the beginning of the book on female puberty, basically. So just like coming of age, but specifically puberty, because that's what sets Carrie off in the beginning of the. It's kind of hinted that that's where the powers start, is when she gets her first period at the beginning of the book in gym class, and it happens in the showers, and it runs all over the shower, and all the girls corner her and are laughing at her about it and stuff.
God bless her heart. And you'd have to change schools.
Well, so, and it's made worse by the fact that Carrie goes home and her mom's like a religious zealot who for some reason pretends that she just doesn't have periods and treats Carrie like it's some kind of sin that she's having a period.
God,
she's turning into a woman. So
it's no wonder she went nuts.
Yeah, and so puberty tied into all this what do you call it, fertility stuff going on, right? But also social isolation, which is really the theme of Carrie. So before she ever gets the powers, like, she's just isolated. And so it's kind of Stephen King's look at how horror develops from isolation, because we are a social creature. So social isolation, and I mean, Juliet's isolated. Like, she's not like the other people on the island. She had Goodwin, but then Goodwin, gets murked by Ana Lucia.
And she doesn't know that, I guess.
No, but she knows he's gone.
Yeah.
And then also...
It's funny because when she gets to the beach, she never asks, like, where's Goodwin? Because he was told to go be with them. So she must assume...
He's told to go be with the other section. Not the section that went to the beach.
You're right.
The other section.
You're right.
And then the other theme in Carrie, which is more prescient for this episode, is the dangers of groupthink. So, Carrie is essentially ostracized by the whole school because there's this one mean girl who victimizes Carrie, and so they all just join in on it. Even though it's pretty clear that the other kids don't really want to be in on it, but they don't want to be the victim of it. So, if they're in on it, they're not the victim of it. And so that's kind of what happens on Lost quite a bit. Sawyer's the bad guy in the beginning, and his, qualm is pretty directly, with Jack and kind of trying to get with Kate, but, before you know it, everybody just thinks he's a dickhead or whatever, even though that nobody's really dealing with him other than Jack and kind of the main crew or whatever. So, Carrie, definitely not an accident that they picked Carrie for the book that they're reading, but I thought it was one of their better ones, actually, to pick, because Carrie, I think, is a better movie than a book. I didn't finish. I did not finish on Carrie when I was reading through it, because I thought the writing was a little weak.
Yeah.
But the movie's really good, and there's a newer version with Chloe Grace Moritz, which is really good. I recommend. So
that's the thing about Stephen King's books. I love his stories. I do not love the books.
I think
they're hard to read.
Stephen King does something really well in his writing, and she'll know immediately why I like it. Like Stephen King actually has a book, I think it's called On Writing, where he teaches that if something is not important, don't spend a bunch of time on it. So like when you are, but that happens so often in books where people just want to like,
they're just trying to be illustrative.
Yeah, but like you don't need 3 pages. Like that's why I gave up on the Game of Thrones books. I was given the first book, started reading it. There was 3 pages on a rose. I'm like, shut up. Seriously, why? And I just gave up. I was like, this one, what's going to be like? The whole book? Like, it's like he's Herman Melville or something, getting paid by the word. The guy who wrote Moby Dick got paid by the word. Okay, I get it then. You're not getting paid by the word anymore. Knock it off. All right, don't use 3 pages to describe a rose. It's obnoxious. So, let's go to Messages in a Bottle, our favorite section. And
we read a book. We both read the book, is why I say we, called Imaginary Friends. It's such a good book. Such a good book. It's a really freaky, high suspense. It's by Nick Cutter. No,
it isn't.
Yes, it is.
Nope.
Who's it by?
It's by the guy who wrote Perks of Being a Wallflower, Stephen Chabon, I think. Yeah.
You're right. Nick Cutter did The Troop.
Yes.
Also a great book.
Also a great book.
Great book.
But Imaginary Friends is a really good book.
Imaginary Friends is a fantastic book. But towards the end of the book, there is probably a chapter and a half that's like one action. It's like one thing that's happening.
It's a lot.
God almighty. I skipped pages because I was like, yeah, I get it. Okay. Like,
I think
he's
I did
doing
too,
the thing.
actually. Yeah.
Yeah. He's doing the thing. The thing is happening. All right, cool. Got it.
So, a lot to get to here. So, we had a lot of comments on the last episode, which is apparently our most viewed. Actually, no. Expose was. Expose.
Which is hilarious.
Viewed 142 times. Crazy. Like.
Come on, we're famous.
All right, so Kira says, another excellent episode. I really thought the Kate and Cassidy link was particularly clever. In my opinion, the best of Lost 6 Degrees of Separation connections. I did throw in there and answer her and say that one of my favorites is Kate's dad and Saeed, which happens in the episode where he's like bombing his friend or whatever, like General Austin's there. Yeah. And I was like, oh, wow. That's pretty wild. That's a weird one.
Yeah.
Let's throw it in there. So, and that Greg also pointed out that it's our most viewed episode, the expose episode. By far our most viewed full review, and I couldn't be more proud. Thank you. Kira said, unsurprising given the episode's popularity with most of the fan base. No way that wasn't a dig. I see you, Kira.
That's okay. We deserve it because
I deserve it. Okay, because I'm the one that put down expose, and I still put down expose. I don't like it, but I really am glad that you guys liked the episode. Thank you so much for watching, all of you, and for your comments. But I see you, Kira, and I earned that. So thank you. So, okay, so this is from Greg. So this is about the plot hole about how the smoke doesn't go over the fence. Mm-hmm. Okay. Hi, Joe. There's no plot hole with the sonic fence, though you're not the first to suggest it. It's even been addressed by the producers at one of the Comic-Cons. The height of the fence does not signify the height nor the depth of the sonic beam. So while the ultra-high frequency beam presumably goes deep into the ground along a thin plane around the fence perimeter with nothing to stop it, you can tell by the dome shape of the speaker units that the beam itself continues up into the sky for an unspecified height, likely many tens of meters or more, slowly weakening like all sound signals. What is known is that Smokey has a limit to how high he can go. So I can't read the rest of it because it'll spoil something for the rest of the series, but there's a reason that Smokey can't go that high.
Oh, cute. We've named it.
Smokey's like a popular name for the smoke monster. People just call it Smokey.
No more turbine dinosaur.
Mm-hmm. And I just, so Josh says this is why I love this group, Greg's explanation. And I just added that it was an excellent, thorough explanation and analysis. And apparently I asked, since it's smoke in this form, is there a reason it can't compress itself down to be narrow enough to slip just over the pole? Totally get why it can't literally fly. That makes sense, but since it's a gas form instead of solid or liquid, there are way less physical constraints around movement and placement, which is true because...
Why would you even ask that? Nobody's going to know the answer. You know it's not real, right?
Craig's going to know the answer. He knows everything. Are you kidding me? Greg will know the answer. That's why I asked him, and guess what he did? So.
Oh my God, there's an answer?
Yeah, good question.
Jeez.
I think it comes down to what I said above. Smokey's extreme sensitivity to the sonic fence sound. Remember that even between the poles, some sound is coming from the other speakers on the other side. The sound doesn't just stop magically when it hits the pole area. It's just weaker. We do know in a future episode...
I don't know about that yet.
Let me just scan real quick.
Greg, you should have told him not to read it.
I know what not to read because there's a specific thing that you can't know about. So, and actually, he doesn't even say it directly. It's just a hint. It's a really good hint. So
sometimes I read the comments.
So basically, the point that he makes here is that although it looks like smoke, real smoke can't pick up a human and slam it down.
Yeah, and it doesn't have electricity and shit in it either. So.
Yeah, so that's all fair points.
Yeah.
All right, so
he's a manufactured smoke.
There's more. So Daniel says, by the way, I'm pretty sure that the big gaping plot hole is not a plot hole. Yep, so again, Daniel just agreeing with Greg, and you're both right. Matt took some screenshots, Joe angling for a coffee company sponsorship, and us.
Good God.
Yeah, listen, I'm doing my best, guys. And actually, not that anybody asked, but for the last week or so, I have been actually... so I got one of those 3D body scans at my gym. And I was super excited about it. And I needed to just see it. And basically, my body fat percentage is super low. Way lower than I thought. I was super excited about that. But one of the recommendations that the kind of fit scan thing made was prioritize some sleep, get better sleep. And I was I don't prioritize it that well, as you guys can see. So about the last 5 or 6 days or so, I have really prioritized it, and I'm feeling a lot better. I think if you watch this video, you'll notice a lot less yawning. I don't feel nearly as tired right now as I typically did. Morgan's tired, but not me.
Well, and so, talking about yawning makes me yawn.
I got at least 7 hours of sleep pretty much every night for the last 5 or 6 nights. So I'm starting to improve a little bit. Apparently it's really good for fat loss and muscle building too. So I just didn't, whatever. I guess I knew that, but I was trying to put it in the back of my brain because I don't sleep that much because I get up super early. So apparently there's a quote that I said in that video that Kira quotes, "Jorientation film. Oh, that is gold." And the Emmy for Best Actor featured in a film reel goes to Joe Green.
No, somebody had made a joke about...
Joe orientation.
Yeah, they found the orientation tape and they had put you yawning in the
Joe orientation.
Yeah, it's very clever. I really like that.
Matt says no, and in fact Joe looks so proud of it, pretty sure he's thinking they're going to screenshot this.
Yeah.
So better make it
I
good.
think about that as we're recording this. I try to be cognizant of how I hold my body, just in case you guys want to immortalize it online forever or whatever with a screenshot.
Earlier, when I was doing my impression of Ben, I'll be amazed because the software that we use to produce this will grab what it thinks is a cool screenshot, and that's pretty much the one we go with. And I thought when I was doing that, I can't look like Michael Emerson, but maybe it'll grab that.
I wonder if he's got that glaucoma or whatever that makes your eyes kind of bulge a little bit.
I thought that was a thyroid thing.
Maybe it is.
Thyroid eyes.
Yeah, it's thyroid eyes.
Yeah, it's like a
I
think it's hypothyroidism.
Yeah, somebody ought to check his thyroid.
I'm sure he has. In fact, Joe looks so proud of it. Pretty sure they're going to screenshot it. And you added, he doesn't even have the good sense to cover his mouth.
He doesn't.
Not doing it. I'm in my living room. I know I'm recording for a podcast, but I am in my living room. It's quite comfortable in here. Love my couch. Locke and Echo find the Joy Orientation film reel.
I knew I'd seen that.
Okay.
This is impressive.
I haven't seen this.
Oh.
You watch my real-time reaction to something Greg has posted, which is watching me watch stuff, I'm sure is great.
I didn't know you hadn't seen that. I told you about it already.
That's fantastic. Okay.
Very funny.
That is really good. Good job. Can I save that? Hold on.
We'll do it offline.
Yeah, I'm an old man. I don't know how to do that. One of these days I'll get some sense and record in the morning or get better sleep, which is what I did. We can't record in the morning because Morgan couldn't do it.
We don't have to record at 6 a.m. Morning could be 11. I'm good at 11.
Morning. That's lunchtime. Daniel says, oddly enough, I hadn't noticed the Kate backgammon thing before. Playing with a backgammon board. Yep. But the best part of this episode, Morgan confusing Animal Farm with Animal House.
You know?
That was good.
When you don't know what you're talking about most of the time, confusion, it's bound to happen.
All right, so the next episode is Catch-22. I
love a good Catch-22 situation.
What is a Catch-22?
A Catch-22 is where the solution creates the problem, or the problem creates the solution.
So give me an example.
I am really, really sad because I'm fat. So I eat an entire large pizza to make myself feel better. But then the pizza makes me fat, which makes me sad, which makes me eat a pizza. Cyclical.
I wonder if they'll make a reference, because I don't remember, but Catch-22 comes from the title of a book by a guy named Joseph Heller, who was... No, Heller, not Keller.
I didn't say Keller. I'm trying to think of the name of the book. Is it... is the book called Catch-22? Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, it was part of the American realist movement. And it was written about, I think it's written about World War I. And it was essentially a guy who would like to get out of being a pilot. But the only way you can get out of being a pilot is to prove that you're insane. So like you're mentally unfit to be a pilot. But in order to prove that you're insane, like all those things work well for being a pilot at this particular time. So it's like... It's circular, essentially. Like it's non-pragmatic, basically. And actually, I think that was leaving realism and heading toward modernism, where you're getting more like a bit less practical. Like in literature, like in realist literature, let's turn to the century, like 1901 or whatever. Everything's real practical. It's just like the story is a real start and finish. There's nothing stylistic. And then in Catch-22. Shit getting a little more modern, basically. So it's confusing, and it's a guy basically trying to prove that he's insane. But as he's trying to prove that he's insane, they're like, "Damn, you're a hell of a pilot!" Like, not even scared. It's like
World War One.
I think so.
Why wouldn't you just say that you're blind?
Well, because he's already been a pilot.
He went blind. He lost his vision. People lose their vision.
Yeah, it's going to take a lot to prove that you're blind.
Throw a ball at me, and if I don't try to catch it, I'm blind.
If you even flinch, they'll know you're not blind.
So don't flinch.
I think if somebody threw a ball at you, you would flinch. Like, just right at... So if I go get something right now, like a little squishy ball...
I guarantee you I would not flinch.
No flinch?
Nope.
Right at your eye?
Mm-hmm.
You would flinch.
No, I wouldn't.
It's a reflex.
I would not. If I knew that I needed to not flinch, I would not flinch. If you caught me off guard, I would flinch. But if I know it's coming, I ain't flinching.
So Catch 22 is a Desmond episode. So
you said that he's one of your favorites, right?
love Desmond. Love his accent, best of all.
I do love to hear him talk.
All right, so we are gonna, because I would have you predict it, but I mean,
You just told me that it's a Desmond episode.
I did, but
Yeah.
I'm gonna have you predict what do you think's gonna happen, because based on
It's gonna be based on the title. It's gonna be something about, maybe how his like fortune telling powers cause the fortune that he's telling, and it's a catch-22.
16. It's
Okay.
fair. All right, so we're gonna go watch it, and we will see you in another life.